Hi, welcome to Let's Talk About Love Stories from Everywhere. I'm your host, Jill Ferguson, and today my special guest is Jose Ucar. How are you today?
I'm very good, Jill. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And you're online with me from London, is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm based in London at the moment. And as I see through my window, I see no sun, not today.
I don't have any sun either, but it's also, 6 o'clock in the morning in Los Angeles. So, yeah. So I became acquainted with you because we ended up on the same list from LA Weekly, right? That was the people to follow and the influencers to watch. And I think that was back in maybe 2022 or 2023. It seems like a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. And where did you live then? Did you live in Los Angeles or were you still?
No. Actually,
Okay.
I've been in the UK mainly.
Uh-huh.
And I've been doing, because my parents, I'm originally from Venezuela.
Uh-huh.
But for the past 8 years, I've been in the UK. Before that, I was in Spain. And before that, I spent a little bit of time in the US. But back then, I was in the UK. And I don't know how that came about, but I ended up in LA and actually ended up connecting with people. And here we are today, a few years later.
Yeah. So you kind of devote your career, right, or your professional life, maybe the rest of your life too, to communications, right? You're a global communications expert. How did you get there?
With a lot of work, failing a lot, having bad days, having good days. But let me tell you the why I got into this.
Yeah.
Just to give you a bit of context. And I have to go back to when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
My mom, and I still remember this conversation, I'm not making it up, and you can ask my mom and she'll confirm. And she's asking me, baby, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you grow up? And I didn't say I wanted to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. I said, Mom, I want to be international. Don't ask me why. I said I wanted to be international back in Venezuela, in Caracas. And eventually, with time, I had the opportunity to travel. My first opportunity was Sweden when I was 16 as an exchange student, representing Venezuela and speaking about my country all throughout Sweden.
Okay.
And that got me into presenting, into speaking different languages, into communicating in a foreign language. And from that point, I really developed, a taste for it.
So wait a minute. How did your mom respond to you as a 5-year-old saying that? I mean, when I was 5, I was talking about writing books, which I've done. I wrote my first one when I was 5, and I've done dozens and dozens of them. But to say like I want to be international isn't an occupation per se. So how does a mom respond to that?
But you know what? I don't remember what she said.
Okay.
But the thing about my mom is she always said, you will be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
So that always left me with that thing in the background. So I don't need to be an engineer. I don't need to be a lawyer. I don't need to be any of that. So yeah, that's really what she's been saying even today. If you carry on growing, carry on developing, whatever you want, you will achieve it, kind of thinking, giving me those beliefs. So that's what she's been saying. I don't remember exactly what she said back then, but she's always been encouraging. She has never, ever said, you're not going to be able to do that.
So when you went to Sweden as a foreign exchange student, did you speak Swedish before you got there?
No, I had a bit of an American accent back then.
Okay.
But from the little I learned at school. So I would potentially sound confident saying, yes, I'm Jose, I'm from Venezuela, I was born here and there. And that was it. But then people would hear me and they would go, well, look. And so I didn't speak English, I didn't speak Swedish.
Okay. So how did you get along there?
Well, that's the beauty of it. You learn a few valuable lessons.
Yeah.
You learn to listen. You learn to be patient. You learn to actually communicate with the less is more, which I still share today. Although, I mean, I would invite people to have a few more words than the ones I knew. And it also helped me to process and be with myself and process and become more self-aware. Those were some fantastic learnings. 3 months in, because of the need of speaking and communicating, I learned some good English compared to what I had. And 6 months in, I was speaking Swedish. But again, think about a 16-year-old in a foreign country, 6 months time, that person I was communicating with a level of fluency, but again, still not enough. But hey, I was communicating. I have friends. I remember I had my first girlfriend, so things were working out for me.
Well, and there's something to be said for when you're acquiring a language about an immersion experience, right? Which is way different than being in your home country and learning foreign language in school. And
Absolutely. And things have changed because nowadays it's easy with the chat GPTs and the co-pilots of this world. Back then, I was in the middle of Sweden, about 6 hours away from Stockholm, heading north.
Mm-hmm.
People, I mean, they didn't know what Venezuela was. They didn't speak Spanish. And they did speak English, but then that was perfect for me. Nowadays, a lot of people speak Spanish, even in that area. So the timing was good.
So I have to ask, because you came to Sweden from Venezuela, how did you adjust to the temperature?
You just give it time. And you know what? Like anything, try. Put yourself literally out there. So I would go out and I would engage with the snow. And I started to learn how long I was supposed to be outside, because it's not the same in Venezuela. You just go out and you stay out. So you can be there for an hour, or then you need extra layers, and then you need It was a learning experience, but I loved it. The first time I saw snow, we had the opportunity, it was a good amount. So with a friend from actually Minnesota, who was living there as an exchange student as well, we created what became my first snowman.
Nice. I love it.
And then we smashed it.
Okay. And this was in the days before a lot of taking selfies and things. So you probably don't have
none of that. No, there's no. I mean, there are some pictures. There are some pictures from the day, but I don't think they managed to capture the snowman.
Yeah. That's nice. I like that. So you went to Sweden, you had this experience. Did you go back to Venezuela after that, or did you use that as a launching pad for somewhere else?
I wanted to, and I had the opportunity to stay. But then my grandparents, I knew they were getting old, and I had to. There wasn't anything more important than actually spending time with my grandparents. So I went back to Venezuela. But when I went back to Venezuela, I didn't pursue the careers some of my friends were pursuing, the typical ones. And I just went after something to do with international business.
Okay.
And I did a career in international business, which with time led me to, some good opportunities in Spain and then in the UK.
Okay.
So I'm happy to expand on that whenever we get to that point, or now.
You can keep telling me about that. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, just to summarize career-wise, I did my international business, and I found a diploma in Spain with some nice working experience.
Okay.
I went to Spain. My dad was already living there because my grandparents were from the Basque region up in the north, around the San Sebastian area.
Yeah.
So I did that. I finished. I did my working experience, and I met Alan, who became the person who hired me to work in the UK. 10 years later, I went, Jill, from packing boxes, even though I had my career and everything, and even though I thought I knew English, but when I came to the UK, I realized I still needed a bit more. I went from packing boxes in 10 years' time. It took me a while to becoming the marketing manager of Europe. And as I did all of that, apart from the learning curve, I went through every possible department. I spent time in the US. I managed to meet people from all over the world. Before I became the marketing manager, I became the entertainment manager, because I would always take customers out, which was a great way to network and grow the business. Yeah, and at that point, I decided to then leave that business and start move on to this coaching, training, speaking, which I do in 2017. So I've given you a super short summary. Anyway, happy to expand on anything you like.
Well, and I think you just hit on something that's really important too, because we forget sometimes that our communication in our business lives extends beyond the office, right? And how we interact with people informally or in a more social setting. Because I've seen companies throw, let's say, parties or various things for clients, right? And the people behave very differently at those parties. Sometimes there's like copious amounts of alcohol consumed and all this other stuff, right? That doesn't necessarily hold with the same branding and messaging, if you will, that it does in the more formal setting.
Yes, agreed. You know what I like to see? I always support authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, depending on the context, communication, as you said, changes.
Yeah.
But for me, it became, every time I could meet someone outside work, it was an opportunity. Yeah. Whether we had a drink or we didn't, or whether we went for a walk or exercise together. And the more opportunities I had, the better my network became. And the more opportunities I had. Actually, I jumped into public speaking coaching to start with, because one of the business partners said to me, Jose, I really like how you're doing these presentations. I started doing launch and learn events. I really like how you do those presentations. Could you come to our place and help our team of engineers? And I just went, there's a business opportunity. And I like how this sounds.
Yeah.
But it was down to human connections.
Yeah. Yeah. I say often that I believe that any person that we come across, that's, whether it's the person sitting next to us on a plane or, somebody that we just interact with randomly, that always becomes an opportunity for us to grow, to learn, to engage with somebody else and learn about them and their lives. And just to make our lives so much more rich than it is if we just stay in our own little bubbles and our own little swim lanes all the time, I think.
Agreed. And that is a message that I would echo, and I would invite people to connect more often, because you never know. You never know.
Yeah. So you wrote a book on global communications. When did the book come out?
It came out in December 2023.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about your book.
Where do I start with the book?
Why did you write a book?
Yes, why? Why did I write the book? I reached a point where I wanted to have everything I had learned and all of my experiences and my stories in one place that could be accessed by anyone, anywhere.
Okay.
So that was the idea behind the book. And I also wanted to dedicate, even though I dedicated it to many people, it was mainly dedicated to my grandparents and Alan, who is the person that I mentioned to you that brought me to the UK. So I wanted to give back in my own way. And I also wanted to show people that it is possible. What I mean by it is possible, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter your circumstances. You can always dream about more, whatever that might be for people in their own context. Mm-hmm. And go, follow, be consistent. That was the overarching message. And of course, then I made it about global influence, because throughout my days, and even of course today, it's an ongoing thing. Going back to connections, I always had the opportunity to benefit and learn so much from people across the world. And I didn't care how they communicated, how different they were. It was about the interest, the curiosity. And that's what I carried in business. And I know people and I appreciate people, they appreciate me, and we have great connections from people all over the world. Mm-hmm. Regardless, that's why when people, but imagine if we're going to stereotypes, the Americans are a bit direct, the English are a bit cold and indirect, then the Germans way too direct. And the Spanish and this, yeah, whatever, yes. So what? I mean, when I'm communicating with that person, I'm communicating with that person and I'm exploring what's in front of me. Do I adapt? What do I say? How do I engage? But I want to connect.
Mhm.
And that is a higher level thing before you go into all the what the person is saying, how the person is saying, I'm liking it, I'm disliking it. And that's what the book is about. And it provides some tools to help people communicate more effectively, become more influential, lead effectively as well. So I wanted to make it about leadership, leading others, and leading yourself.
So when you talk about connecting with other people, are you talking about, just for clarity for our viewers, are you talking about adapting your communication style to the person you're engaging with, or are you talking about being your authentic self at all times, and is it, or somewhere in between?
This is when I speak about communication and adaptability. You will always see me, Jill. So I will always bring Jose to the table, to the equation. But what I always like to reinforce is our ability to adapt behaviors. I have different behaviors depending on what's needed. I'm still me.
Mhm.
And you still see me and the version of me. But then potentially my levels of energy is the type of questions I ask, whether I become a bit more pushing information or drawing information or the curiosity element, but it's going to be me. So authenticity with adaptability of behaviors, because I will always reinforce the following. The more flexibility we show, the more influential we can become. And then we own our communication. It's not about the other person. It's about what are we doing with what's coming from them.
And do you cover nonverbal communication when you coach clients or work in group settings or teams or with companies, or is it mainly verbal?
No, it's a bit of everything. And within the communication umbrella, I have, of course, the leadership side of things. And within leadership, well, I know it depends on what they need, but within leadership, I touch on coaching, I touch on feedback, difficult conversations, and the public speaking or presentation skills. Those are usually my go-to topics.
And I know there's a lot of communications professionals or coaches, right, that talk a lot about the difference between male and female differences in communication styles. Do you cover any of that or not really?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't. Because my focus is all about curiosity
Mhm.
or understanding, listening to understand. So regardless of the person that's in front of you, regardless, I don't want any labels. You have a
Mhm.
human being, and then you're looking to understand what the human being is conveying, and you then become more self-aware and think about how do I adapt, or how can I, be more flexible in my thinking, how I'm taking things on, how do I self-regulate, and then you become influential, and then you can do something or provide information or coach, or depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve, you can become more intentional and impactful in your communication. So I don't care about the label. Of course, Jill, I see a woman in front of me, but I'm not thinking, woman, I should do this, man, I should do that. A person no, it's just what is the tension like?
Mhm.
The tension is that push and pull. What is the tension like? Not from a bad space as in, oh, there is tension here. It's just tension in terms of how engaged are we with one another? Where is this conversation going? Is the other person benefiting from it?
I love that, because I think that so often as humans, our immediate inclination, and I don't know whether it's from training from when we're little, maybe it's not, because I feel like little kids don't recognize gender and other things as quickly as adults do. But I love the fact that you say you're looking at people human to human, because otherwise we go in with preconceived ideas about what something might be, right, or how somebody may behave, and doing kind of a blank slate approach, sort of, um, is
But sort of
yeah,
try, because as you know,
yeah,
we have preconceptions and they get
yeah,
triggered. Oh my goodness! But is this person that?
yeah,
Check,
yeah,
and very likely it will not be that case.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I do. I think it's remaining open and curious, and almost loving in a way, right? Because it's acknowledging that you see the person themselves for what, in whatever context.
Yes, and also you are present. And I know people keep on throwing, be present, be present. Well, this is a way in which you can be present. Just listen, understand, be intentional. Instead of just, oh, we have a conversation and then, I need to tell you stuff. No, be okay with it. Let's see, let's
Yeah.
think on your feet. Think on your feet is also what I say to people. Think on your feet, listen, really listen. And then I love it because when I do activities and I get people to listen for 7 minutes, and I tell them, you can only ask questions, open questions, and then you just start seeing those very elaborated leading questions towards the thing they would like that person to respond. And then, no, very open. Just keep on expanding and understanding that person. We are not used to it, as in generalizing. We don't practice listening enough. And it's one of the most important things.
Yeah, so I do actually have a degree in communications. And one of the things that I remember from one of my undergrad classes is that it's some crazy high percentage, like 87% or something of our time spent listening to people traditionally has been preparing for the next thing we're about to say. It's not actually listening, right? And so getting people out of that mode of out of their own head and actually hearing what the person is saying, and then having basically what comes down to like the show, an unscripted conversation in many ways, right? Because you're going back and forth and feeding off of each other, as opposed to just having my preconceived idea of what I need to accomplish here, and I'm going to ask all those questions based on that, right?
Correct, yeah. Correct. And yes, and I know in business we need to reach an outcome, but you can reach the outcome, especially as leaders, by telling people what to do, or you can help them reach the outcome so that they can keep on achieving the outcome without you being involved.
Well, and that's so much more empowering to the people you're leading, to give them agency to do their thing to the best of their ability.
Right. And then you can start thinking about something else, become more strategic, your people grow, and things are much better. Not to say, we need the push. On many occasions, we need to be more assertive, and we need to direct as part of the deal, but it's about that adaptability.
So you work all over the world, right, with some of the leading brands?
Yeah. Yes, I worked internationally, and I also do a lot of work. Most of my work at the moment is in London.
Okay.
And then here, I'm lucky, I guess, being in it's just a good hub for businesses from all over the world, and they fly people across over to London, and then I also get to interact with people from different places.
And is your business right now mainly word of mouth, or are you doing like extensive marketing pushes?
What's worked throughout the years is word of mouth, podcasts, good articles. Those are the things that have worked. I've tried massive email campaigns. After 10 years, almost being in the field, I think I've tried everything. And what really works and makes me feel comfortable with my style is the word of mouth and creating a good pool with the information I have out there. Yeah. Some good videos, some communication, and public speaking.
Well, and all the things you're talking about feel like more authentic communication, as opposed to some mass email campaign that doesn't feel authentic to most people, right? Because you're just hitting, even if they're on your list. Yeah.
Yes, you're just pushing undesired, unsolicited information. So I stopped. No more. Actually, my marketing budget is way lower now. But it's working. It's consistency and connecting with the people that really want to work with you. It takes time, but I'm much better working like this than as I was before.
So you did a TED Talk, at least one. How did that?
I've done two. I did the second
okay.
this year. I did the second one this year.
So how did those come about?
The first one, similar to the book, I wanted to do a TEDx. And when I started in this business, I was, with my marketing hats on, and I thought it would be good for my brand as well. But the thing that encouraged me the most was the fact that I was very scared because I had no idea as to what I was supposed to do, what did I need to speak about, how was I really going to land it. And that's how I started. In 2017, I created my SMART goal. I want to do a TEDx in 2 years' time. And I started applying, I started learning, I took more training, I was coached, I did everything until the first TEDx came along in 2019.
Okay.
And then the second one came as a recommendation. So people start after the TEDx, I got involved and started supporting other speakers and also hosting some TEDx events all in the north of England. For some reason, don't ask me why, but it's just people from the north. Now they want me to do something in Liverpool in January. And then that led, again, word of mouth. Jose, but why? I mean, you've been hosting, you've been training, coaching the speakers. Why don't you do another one? And I just went, okay, why not? And I did the second one this February. Yeah, last February.
And what did you speak on the first time and the second time?
The first one, I spoke about connections and a moment in my life. It was a bit more personal. I dedicated parts of it to my parents. And it was mainly around connection, how to connect. And then the second one, I made it more around impactful communication. So I broke down one of my frameworks, the Simpler method, and I spoke about it.
Is that an acronym or?
Yeah, the Simpler is the Simpler is an acronym. And if you want to find out more, check out that TEDx by Jose Ucar.
Is it out already?
Yeah, it's out.
Okay. You said you did it this year, so I wasn't sure how quickly.
Yeah, that one came out.
Yeah.
So it's already out.
Yeah. Do you think that your opportunities in the north of the UK or England is because there's maybe less access to stuff like that than there is in London, and so there's a hunger for people to host things like TEDx's and in the north part?
One thing, London is way more competitive than the rest of the UK when it comes to this. So that is, I would say, a fact. Also, for different reasons, the main connections I started building were from the north. I didn't do it intentionally; it started happening. But they definitely. I mean, if you want to do something in London, they really take into consideration the brand, and they need to see way more assets. In the north, generalizing, of course, is still more about the human and the connection you have, and of course, the value you can bring.
Yeah, because I have friends in the Los Angeles area that have done TED events, but it's like they go to Rochester, New York, and all these. It's not here, right, in Southern California, where there's 17 million people and kind of a glut of talent, if you will.
Yes.
So it's smaller places where, they have better success, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what that's probably why I got the first one, because my brand is way stronger today than it was in 2017 when I started reaching out. Mm-hmm. But then the connections, most of the people reaching out, answering my requests were from the north. Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
What is has been the biggest benefit to you to do things with TED?
The community.
Yeah.
It's been, of course, the brand is there. The two things. The brand is strong and it's helped me having conversations with big brands because they come to me, we see you've done a TEDx and you've been working with them and we need your support. So that's been good. But then the community. I mean, I know so many incredible people. Last time on my second TEDx, it was so beautiful. My parents came along, the parents of the other speakers. I had a box full of books, which I signed at the end, and people hugging each other and hugging me. And it was very human. And I love that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was very, very nice.
If somebody listening to this or watching this wants to get a hold of your book, where is it available for them?
Well, if they Google Global Influence by Jose Ucar, they may find different outlets that provide the book. I mean, Amazon of course. So it's on Amazon, but then I know it's on a variety of outlets everywhere. Also, if people come to my website, joseucar.com, and they click on the Global Influence, the book, you will also, I have a list of different, I'm going to call them, shops that sell the book.
So you're not selling it directly from your website?
No.
Okay.
No, it's all out there on different platforms. I decided to make it easy for people and for myself.
Are you planning on a second book or no?
Not at the moment, Jill. Not at the moment. But you know what? Every now and then I have that little voice in the back. Do another book, Jose. And I think in a few years' time there will be another one. But now I'm thinking more about the journey of an immigrant. That's what.
Okay.
That's what's in the back of my mind, especially after everything that we, as Venezuelans, you may be aware.
Yeah.
The immigration and all the issues and everything. So there is something in there that I want to address, and I want to give it a positive spin. So I'm still, it's somewhere being created. It's simmering.
Yeah. I had a man on my show a couple months ago who wrote a book that was set in, I want to say the early 1900s, and in New York City, and it was about an immigrant family and the way that they established themselves in a community and eventually started businesses, and but it was that journey, right? And he on my show, we talked about the fact that he wanted to show that as a positive experience. And of course, he wrote his book over a bunch of years, and it was way before we were dealing with all the ICE stuff here that's been happening in the US. But he said, this is his little way to say, no, it's not, it's not like that. And that this country, and I think a lot of countries, have been built because of the immigrant experience in the country. Right.
Yeah. I mean, even Venezuela is a good example. When Venezuela started to grow, all the immigrants from Europe, Spain, Portugal, Italy.
Yeah. And I, almost at any country becomes better and richer for its diversity.
Yes, there is a process until it gets there, and there are many challenges. But I would say overall, there are the pros and cons, because I know in Spain there are many issues at the moment that I'm aware of. So I'm not going to give my opinion. I can only provide the version of my story, which has been with ups and downs. Overall, positive in terms of the human development, human growth.
Yeah, I can understand that. What is your, if you had like 3 quick tips for people to be better communicators or better leaders, what would they be? Or any number, right? I just picked 3.
Let me start shooting some. I would say we spoke about listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I would say listen to understand, and then follow up with good questions. That would be 1. Be intentional in terms of the impact you want to have with your communication. If you know what kind of impact you want to create, then you can then be more, I was going to say intentional. You know what the outcome it is that you're after. And then if the conversation goes sideways, you can always bring it back to that thing that you would like to get at the end. When it comes to leadership and communication, it's good to be directive. It is also good to coach. It is also good to be supportive and also to delegate. And there are different ways in which you can communicate in order to achieve those, but they are all needed. So in order to reinforce adaptability of your leadership and your communication, I'm going to say be assertive, because I know many people can struggle being assertive, but then don't be aggressive. But there is a real quality in being assertive without the aggression piece that can create change. Enjoy. This is a difficult one. I was going to say enjoy conflict. It's still difficult to go with that. I'm going to enjoy it, but pursue it. Pursue conflict, address difficult situations early, get used to providing feedback, learn from feedback, and help the people you lead learn from feedback as well. So turn your culture, even if it's the team culture, into a feedback one where, it helps high performing teams. Feedback in and out, back and forth. Practice presentation skills or public speaking. Even if you hate it, it's not about whether you love it or hate it or because Jose said this or Jill said that. No, think about, hey, if I start improving my presentation skills or my public speaking, what opportunities may lay ahead in terms of my career? And you will be surprised. Along with mastering these presentation skills, put yourself out there more often. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. I don't know how many I've given, maybe 7 or between 5
I don't know.
and
I
8.
wasn't counting. I was engaging and
Anyway,
listening.
the people who counted, you've got a few. It's not about the number. It's not about quantity, but quality.
Yeah, I like that. And what do you love most about what you do?
It keeps me on my toes, Jill. It keeps me on my toes, and I cannot help people if I'm not improving myself. So it is tiring on occasions, and now I'm looking forward to 2 weeks break, which I need for my mental health and in order to reset. But it keeps me growing. It keeps me learning about myself a lot. And that is a good space to be. I see myself turning 80, 90, fingers crossed, touch wood, and my mind being still active because of the work I do. And that is motivating for me, of course, and the impact I create. But then I need to sort myself out if I want to help people. And I'm doing it often.
So the only thing that about you that I haven't mentioned is that you do have some online courses that are at a fairly low. One's free, and they're at a fairly low price point. If people want a quick introduction to your work at a inexpensive investment in themselves, and those are found on which platform? Besides
to
your
my website. Yeah, if they come, I have it all on my website. I mean, you may find in Udemy, some on Udemy and some of these training platforms, but come to joseucar.com and you will see that. If you go to my YouTube channel, there are also some additional videos on presentation skills. I'm about to launch a masterclass, next level masterclass on public speaking, which I'm sure people will benefit from. And that's going to be free. That's going to be available on my YouTube channel within the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of my Christmas present to my viewers.
Beautiful. I like that.
Yeah, so it's easy. Jose Ucar, you will either find me or a picture of my dad, and we look a bit different. That's it, really.
He has a similar name, I guess, huh?
Well, the thing is, I mean, bless him. He wanted to support me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then he created Jose Ucar, so we have almost the same name. He's Jose Maria, and I'm Jose Luis. But then when you go Jose Ucar, the same surname, but then he's lacking a bit of hair.
I like it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of the information you've imparted. And this was like a little mini course in public speaking and listening and leading.
My pleasure, Jill. Thank you so much for having me in your show. And people, keep on tuning in. Yeah. Apply, listen to some of these things and pick one thing and do something with it. Test and enjoy.
Thank you.